Welcome back to our Dan Education series. We're talking about heart and health, and we're busy with Chapter 2, Part 4, in which we will be looking at the effects of being overweight or obese and its impact on diving safety. Keep watching. The term overweight or obesity refers to body weight in relationship to body height. And if that ratio is inappropriate, that would be termed obese or obesity. That is at least one of the measures that is most commonly used, and from which a very familiar index called the body mass index or BMI is calculated. Now, the greater the proportion of fat or adipose tissue is relative to the lean muscle mass and bone, the greater the risk is in terms of cardiovascular disease. Overweight is applied to someone who has a somewhat elevated weight, and obesity to those who are extremely overweight. Statistically speaking, 69%, nearly 3/4 of adult Americans are either overweight or obese, and that is increasing throughout the world and is rapidly also increasing in our country. Adult obesity rates have more than doubled over the past 30 years, from 15% in 1976 to 1980 to 36% in 2009 to 2010. This obesity rate amongst women was typically previously less than that of men, but they are now coming into pretty much the same sort of range. Now, I mentioned the body mass index, which is a common way of expressing the relationship or ratio between weight and height. And here is the equation that you will see. It is essentially a way of factoring the height and weight of the individual. It's not a perfect way of doing it because, of course, some people may have slightly heavier bone structures and so on. But by and large, following the body mass index as it's published, underweight would be below 18.5, normal between 18.5 and 24.9, overweight 25 to 29.9, and obese above 30. And that comes from the US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Now, BMI is an important measure for understanding population trends, but it has limitations as we mentioned. For instance, the proportion of body fat in athletes would be different to people with a sedentary lifestyle. It may underestimate the proportion of body fat in older persons and others who have lost muscle mass. Accordingly, the BMI is just one of many factors that should be considered in evaluating whether an individual is healthy or potentially overweight. Another way of looking at it is the so-called waist to hip ratio, or skin fold thickness. And these tests are readily available in a family practitioner's office and in many clinics. It is worth having your obesity risk assessed because it is an indication of whether you need to make some lifestyle changes and, of course, whether there is a need for maybe more regular screening. With that, we close off this section. We hope you found it interesting. Please subscribe to this channel and, of course, Thank you for supporting Dan.